योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
ગુજરાત યુનિવર્સિટીના ઇન્ચાર્જ વાઇસ ચાન્સલર શ્રી જગદીશભાઈ ભાવસર, ડાયરેક્ટર હાયર એજ્યુકેશન શ્રી નાગરાજન એ પટેલ સાહેબ, શ્રી જગદીશભાઈ જોશી, ડાયરેક્ટર ઓફ યુનિવર્સિટી એચઆરડી સેલ. આજે જે ફેકલ્ટી ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામનું આયોજન કરવામાં આવ્યું છે રૂસા હેઠળ, આજે આપ બધા એમાં હાજર છો અને અત્યારે ઉપસ્થિત રહીને અમને સાંભળી રહ્યા છો. તે બદલ સૌથી પહેલા તો હું આપ બધાને આવકારું છું. જેમ આપ બધાને ખબર હશે કે રૂસા હેઠળ આપણું સતત પ્રયાસ છે કે આપણી શૈક્ષણિક સંસ્થાઓની ક્વોલિટી વધે, આપણા શિક્ષણની અને શિક્ષકોની ક્વોલિટી પણ વધે. અને તે ધ્યાને લઈને ફેકલ્ટી ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામ્સ એક ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ કમ્પોનન્ટ રૂસાનું છે, જેમાં આપણે 3 યુનિવર્સિટીઓ મારફત કાર્ય કરી રહ્યા છે: ગુજરાત યુનિવર્સિટી, એસપી યુનિવર્સિટી અને સૌરાષ્ટ્ર યુનિવર્સિટી. એટલે 3 યુનિવર્સિટીઓ મારફતે ફેકલ્ટી ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામ્સ હાથ ધરવામાં આવી રહ્યા છે. અત્યારનો સમય આપ બધાને ખબર છે કે કોવિડનો સમય છે. ભલે લોકડાઉન 4માં આપણે ઘણી બધી રિલેક્સેશન આપી છે, પણ સોશિયલ ડિસ્ટન્સિંગ, માસ્ક એ બધા આપણા માટે અત્યારે પણ બહુ જરૂરી છે. આવા સમયમાં ફેકલ્ટી ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામ પણ વેબિનાર ઉપર કરવાનું આપણું શિક્ષણ વિભાગનો અભિગમ રહ્યો છે. અને એસીજીથી શરૂ કરીને આપણે પ્રિન્સિપલ્સના ફેકલ્ટી ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોગ્રામ કર્યા. તેની સાથે યુનિવર્સિટીઝ પણ પ્રોગ્રામ કરી રહી છે. 600 ઉપર વેબિનાર આપણે છેલ્લા 1 મહિનામાં ગુજરાતમાં યુનિવર્સિટીઓ મારફતે કર્યા છે, which in itself I think is a record for any state in the country. So આ એક માધ્યમ છે, એવો માધ્યમ છે. I won't say that this is as effective as a personal medium, because જ્યારે આપણે કમ્યુનિકેશન કરીએ છીએ ત્યારે એ કમ્યુનિકેશનમાં બોડી લેંગ્વેજ અને પર્સન ટુ પર્સન ઇન્ટરેક્શન, પર્સન ટુ પર્સન કોન્ટેક્ટનું બહુ જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્સ હોય છે. અને તેની સાથે સાથે ડેડિકેટેડ એટેન્શન અને ડેડિકેટેડ ટાઈમ તે પણ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ હોય છે. વેબિનાર મારફતે આપણે આટલું ન અચીવ કરી શકીએ જેટલું કે પર્સનલમાં કરીએ છીએ, but at least we don't waste our time and we are utilizing the time, even if we get 50% or 60% of the content and the effectiveness, it's worth it. With that intention in mind, we are promoting a lot of webinars and a lot of efforts, lot of content building, lot of knowledge building through the webinars. આપણા યુનિવર્સિટીઓમાં એક સૌથી અગત્યનું જે ઉણપ મેં અનુભવી છે આટલા વર્ષના અનુભવમાં, કે શિક્ષણની ક્વોલિટી હજી, એટલે કે જે ડિલિવરીની ક્વોલિટી છે, જે નોલેજ ડિલિવરીની ક્વોલિટી છે, જે હજી એમાં ઉણપ છે. અને એનું એક કારણ લોકો કહે છે કરિક્યુલમ છે, but I don't believe in that. Curriculum is just a medium. If you see curricula, I remember one girl telling me she took admission in Columbia University after doing her PG, UG, 4-year UG in economics in India from LSR. She took admission in Columbia University for doing her PG. અને ત્યાં આગળ આ બધું સિલેબસ આવ્યું એમના પાસે, એટલે સિલેબસ જોઈને કહે મારે નથી જવું ત્યાં આગળ. એટલે કેમ નથી જવું? એમના ફાધર મારા ઓળખીતા છે. કેમ નથી જવું? એ કે આ તો સરખું સિલેબસ છે, આ બધું તો મેં વાંચી લીધું છે, આ બધું ઓલરેડી મેં કરી લીધું છે, અમારે હું શીખવીશું ત્યાં આટલા પૈસા ખર્ચીને. અને then I told her, see, it's not don't go on what is written in the curriculum, because આપણે 8મા ધોરણમાં કે 7મા ધોરણમાં પણ કોશિકા સેલ નો અભ્યાસ કરીએ છીએ. 9મા ધોરણ પણ એ સિલેબસમાં હોય છે. 11મા પણ સિલેબસમાં હોય છે. બીએસસી માં હોય છે, એમએસસી માં હોય છે, દરેકમાં હોય છે. પણ એની જે કન્ટેન્ટ ડિલિવરી છે તે ડિફરન્ટ હોય છે અને ટ્રીટમેન્ટ ઓફ ધ સબ્જેક્ટ છે એ પણ ડિફરન્ટ હોય છે. લેવલ્સ ચેન્જ, કરિક્યુલમ રિમેન્સ ધ સેમ, but pedagogy and content changes with the delivery of the content. અને જે બહારની યુનિવર્સિટી, ફોરેન યુનિવર્સિટી, જે વર્લ્ડ ક્લાસ યુનિવર્સિટીઝ છે, લાઈક કોલંબિયા એન્ડ હાર્વર્ડ એન્ડ ડ્યુક, આઈ હેવ સ્ટડીડ, એના જે પેડાગોજી છે, જે કન્ટેન્ટ ડિલિવરી છે, બહુ જ ડિફરન્ટ છે, બહુ જ એડવાન્સ છે. આપણા ટીચર્સ છે અત્યારે ભણાવે છે. Unfortunately, there are some good teachers also. I don't say that there are good teachers. There are a large number of teachers who are very popular, and when they start speaking, they don't even look at the board or their notes when they are speaking. And they treat the entire subject as a story. એક સ્ટોરીની જેમ આખા સબ્જેક્ટને ભણાવે છે. અને ક્યારે હોઈ શકે જ્યારે કે એમને પોતે એટલું કોન્ફિડન્સ હોય કે એ આ સબ્જેક્ટને સમજી શકતા હોય. But that is the case with 10% of teachers. Remaining 90% of teachers જે છે એ સબ્જેક્ટને ABCDEFG તરીકે જ ભણાવે છે. What, how, when, 3 પ્રશ્નો પર જ ફોકસ રાખે છે. What થી શરૂ કરે, define so and so. How does this process happen? How does photosynthesis happen? How does this chemical reaction take place? What is the equation of this, of its history? What all happened? How did it happen? How did the battle take place? When was this person born? When this person died? Who succeeded him? And all that. This is the focus of when, how, and what. This is the focus of most of the lectures. And that's most unfortunate. Because students don't remember when, how, and what. What, how, and when, these 3 questions, they pertain to the memory. They pertain to the memory. And human memory, but for some people who have got photographic memory, human memory is not so long, and we tend to forget. બહુ તો એક્ઝામ માટે યાદ રાખે અને 2-3 વાર મગ્ગા મારે અને પછી એક્ઝામમાં ઓગળી દે અને પછી કરી આવે. So what is this that human mind retains over a period of time? And this is a why. When the teacher talks about why, the mind, the cognitive aspects of the mind, the analytical aspects of the mind, they get triggered along with the creative aspects of the mind. So when you talk of why, both left brain and right brain are working. Right brain is working, first left brain is working on understanding why and the cognitive aspect of it. And when the left brain does its work and it has triggered enough thoughts, because that's when you talk of why, then those thoughts get triggered. And when these thoughts get triggered because of the lateral thinking, then your right brain gets triggered, and that's where the creativity, lateral thinking, disruptive thinking, all that comes up. And that's when both the left brain and the right brain start working. And that is what makes the impact in education. The impact in education comes when you talk of why. If you talk of, see, for example, if you are talking of Battle of Haldighati, so between whom, what Battle of Haldighati, what, it is a battle. How, it was between this person and this person. This person did this person had an army of these many people, this person had an army of these many people, these are the people that are involved. And when, this was the time duration. What happened? This person won, this person. That's all. That's how I learned history. And I hated history always. I never remembered a single word of history. Because nobody taught me why. Now, when I became old, and started understanding history on my own. And how did I do that? Through the monuments. So when I started traveling, I would go to the monuments and then read the history and then reflect on it. And somehow in certain places, I got such good guides who told that why thing. And that's how I started getting interested in history. Now, nobody teaches there in Battle of Haldi Ghati. What were the socio-political, what was the socio-political context in which Battle of Haldi Ghati happened? What was geopolitics at that time? Why did it happen? What impact it had on the future? What do we learn from that? Nobody teaches that as a story. And those who teach are known to be very good teachers, are known to be very effective teachers, and their students feel very enriched. And whenever these kind of teachers teach in the class, you see the strength of the class, you see the attendance in the class. People love to attend those classes. And because it's where the enrichment is coming, it's where the value addition is coming. Because the mind loves to think along these lines. So that is where our teaching is lacking. And if we do not develop, even in science, people think that science is just abstract. No, unfortunately or fortunately, I think fortunately, I was taught science by very good teachers who always gave me the why perspective. And I tell you, when I was in second year, so we had a paper of physical chemistry, organic chemistry, and inorganic chemistry, 3 separate papers. So physical chemistry, we had an excellent teacher in chemistry. And not only teacher, my mind was also very active in physical chemistry. So what happened, the paper setter in that year changed the entire pattern of the paper. And we all do tell us 10 years paper and prepare according to it. What that paper setter did, he kept that aside. And instead of asking what, how, when, he gave entire paper full of why. And the entire paper was full of questions like, why do bubbles arise in soda bottle? And things like that, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember. But then these kind of questions, the entire paper was full of those kind of questions. And all students, there was a big furore in the examination hall. And that year, physical chemistry paper did not do well. But I was very happy. And on that day when I was doing the paper, I was very happy attempting that paper. I finished the paper, 3-hour paper in 2 hours only. And even today, now you can understand the satisfaction that I had, because even today, after 40 years, after about say 30, 35 years, I still remember that incident. So I enjoyed attempting that paper because my mind thinks along that way. And I scored very well. But the rest, most of the class did not score well in the physical chemistry paper and they had to repeat it. So you understand now, what difference can it make to the learning process? When you explain the entire subject as a story, going into the basics, going into the why question, this is what you will remember your entire life. And this is what is practical in the life. This is what is going to be of use in the life. It really does not matter whether the Battle of Haldi Ghati took place in, even correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even know whether it was 18th century or 17th century. I think it should be somewhere in the middle of that. So what matters is that, okay, you have to remember that it happened somewhere in the 17th, 18th century, because that was a time when all these things were taking place. Mughal era was there, and then these people were there. And then after that came the Britishers, and then followed the Indian national movement. But whether it was 1738 or it was 1748, how does it matter? Does it matter? 500 years down the line, does it matter whether the Battle of Haldi Ghati took place in 1738 or 1748? But what matters is that the student should know whether it took place in 748 AD or 1748 AD. Yes, that's important because the two eras are different. And if you teach the subject in a way that the person understand that it took place in an era against the Mughals, it took place at a time when the nationalist surge was there, then one will never say that it took place in the 9th century or the 10th century, because that was a time, that was a different time. And that is what is important. But whether it was in 1748 or 1738, it really doesn't matter. So the perspective, the context, that is very important in any kind of learning. And that comes when we deal with the why question, when our teaching is very analytical, critical and analytical. And that can happen only when we ourselves understand the subject. Unfortunately, most of the time we ourselves do not understand the subject. So how can we teach? Because we have not been taught in that way. So if my funda in history are not clear, how am I going to clear others' funda in history? If I don't know about science, I may be a professor in chemistry. But then if I don't know the intricacies of subject as a story, as a practical relevance to the situation, then how am I going to teach others? And that's what happens. And that's why these faculty development programs are very important. Another thing, that if I have not studied a subject in a certain way in my early years, in my UG, PG, how am I going to do now? It's nothing like that. There is no age bar to learning. There is no age bar to improving, and there is no age bar to moving ahead. I never studied history all through my life because I told you I used to hate history because of these. I could never mug up the dates. And I could never understand what difference does it make if it is 1738 or 1748. So I never was interested in history. But I realized that this was a weakness of mine, that I don't know history much. And history has a lot of relevance in our life. But I used to think, kyun padhate hai history? Kya karna history padh ke? But as I grew up in life, I realized that history is very important because history gives a setting to the entire, a background to the entire, all the things that are happening. And you learn from history. You derive lessons from history. History makes you understand the things, why they're happening now. Things are happening in a certain way now because they happened some 100 or 200 years back in a certain way, in a different way, or in a similar way. You have to understand it from that perspective, and that's why history becomes important. So I started learning history. And I started developing interest in history, and I found out all the texts and all that will make me develop interest in history as a story and look and enable me to find that in history which is of meaning, which carries some sense. Every subject is meaningful. Every discipline is meaningful. Arts, performing arts, history, political science, philosophy, sociology, psychology, economics, science, physics, chemistry, bio, name any subject, and the multidisciplinary subjects. All are very, very relevant. You cannot say that this subject is totally useless. Now, there is no subject that is useless. Every subject has a definite value in the context of education. And we have to see that at least the subject we are teaching, we have to love that subject. We have to go to the depths of that subject. And वो कहावत है ना कि मोती जो है गहरे पानी में ही मिलता है, ऊपर नहीं मिलता है. तो मोती के लिए आपको डुबकी तो लगानी ही पड़ेगी अंदर, और जब तक उसमें गहरे नहीं उतरोगे तब तक वो मोती नहीं मिलने वाला है आपको. तो आप लोग अपने इस ज्ञान के क्षेत्र में इन मोतियों को प्राप्त करिए और enrich yourself through these faculty development programs. I would also suggest that you call some national and international experts also in these faculty development programs, so that there is a cross learning. You also learn from whatever is happening elsewhere. Whatever are the new modes of pedagogy. Pedagogy is constantly evolving and newer ways of learning are coming. So like I told you, In Duke University, when we studied, the pattern is totally different. They don't teach you anything, actually. So 1 or 2 days before the subject is to be taught and that class is there, you get an entire list. The teacher, now they do it online. Earlier they used to hand over in physical listening. Teacher gives you a list of readings, and online they post all the reading material is made available to that. Page number so and so to so and so, book number so and to so and so, so and to so and so, and where that is not available, they post special notes. They give you the name of the book. Now the professor says you read it and come to my class. And when the professor comes to class, he does not talk about what, how, and when. First thing my professor would do, all my professors used to do, is make a student get up. Any random student, because giving a material is not enough. People should read it. So they make a student get up. Okay, now tell me, what is the definition of this? Student may not have full, again, what is the definition? What is the person he was right? And within that question answer session and explaining and thrashing out the mistakes that students were doing and understanding, the entire understanding of the subject will come in the next one out. Without referring to any notes, without referring to any blackboard or anything. Blackboard they would use only for explaining. And that's how it used to be. And it's a thing of beauty. And that's the pedagogy. So I hope you will learn new methods of pedagogy and enrich yourself through these faculty development programs. Thank you for patient hearing. Thank you very much.